The Kallikak Family, a study in the heredity of feeble-mindedness, was a 1912 book by the American psychologist and eugenicist Henry H. Goddard. The work was an extended case study of Goddard's for the inheritance of feeble-mindedness, a general category referring to a variety of mental disabilities including mental retardation, learning disabilities, and mental illness. Goddard concluded that a variety of mental traits were hereditary and society should limit reproduction by people possessing these traits. The name Kallikak is a pseudonym used as a family name throughout the book. Goddard coined the name from the Greek words Kappa Alpha Lambda Omicron Sigma meaning beautiful and Kappa Alpha Kappa Omicron Sigma meaning bad. Summary: the book begins by discussing the case of Deborah Kallikak, a woman in Goddard's institution, the New Jersey home for the education and care of feeble-minded children. In the course of investigating her genealogy, Goddard claims to have discovered that her family tree bore a curious and surprising moral tale. The book follows the genealogy of Martin Kallikak, Deborah's great-great-great-grandfather, a Revolutionary War hero married to a Quaker woman. On his way back from battle, the normally morally upright Martin dallied one time with a feeble-minded barmaid. The young Martin soon reformed and went on with his upright life, becoming a respected New England citizen and father of a large family of prosperous individuals. All of the children that came from this relationship were wholesome and had no signs of retardation. But according to Goddard, a child was born by the dalliance with the nameless feeble-minded girl. This single child, a male, went on to father more children, who fathered their own children, and on down the generations. And so with the Kallikaks, Goddard claims to have discovered, one has as close as one could imagine an experiment in the hereditability of intelligence, moral ability, and criminality. On the feeble-minded side of the Kallikak family, descended from the barmaid, the children wound up poor, insane, delinquent, and mentally retarded. Deborah was, in Goddard's assessment, feeble-minded, a catch-all early 20th century term to describe various forms of mental retardation or learning deficiencies. Goddard was interested in the heritability of feeble-mindedness, and often wrote of the invisible threat of recessive feeble-minded genes carried by otherwise healthy and intelligent-looking members of the population. It was in tracing the family history of Deborah that Goddard and his assistants discovered that Deborah's family of drunks and criminals was related, through Martin Kallikak, to another family tree of economy and prosperity. On the normal side of the Kallikak family tree, the children ended up prosperous, intelligent, and morally upstanding. They were lawyers, ministers, and doctors. Goddard concluded from this that intelligence, sanity, and morality were hereditary, and every effort should be undertaken to keep the feeble-minded from procreating, with the overall goal of potentially ending feeble-mindedness and its accompanying traits. The damage from even one dalliance between a young man and a feeble-minded girl could create generations and generations worth of crime and poverty, with its members eventually living off the generosity of the state, Goddard argued. His work contains intricately constructed family trees showing near-perfect Mendelian ratios in the inheritance of negative and positive traits. Goddard recommended segregating them in institutions, where they would be taught how to work various forms of menial labor. Present-day evaluation. In its day, the Kallikak family was a tremendous success and went through multiple printings. It helped propel Goddard to the status of one of the nation's top experts in using psychology in policy, and along with the work of Charles B. Davenport and Madison Grant is considered one of the canonical works of early 20th century American eugenics. It has also been argued that the effects of malnutrition condition were overlooked in the Kallikak family. Goddard's P.A. Davenport even identified various forms of diseases now known to be caused by diet deficiencies as being hereditary. Another recent perspective has been offered that the Kallikaks almost certainly had undiagnosed fetal alcohol syndrome. In addition to poverty and malnourishment, prenatal alcohol exposure can create craniofacial and other physical anomalies that could account for the peculiar facial features. Furthermore, prenatal alcohol exposure may also damage the central nervous system, which can result in impaired cognitive and behavioral functioning similar to that described by Goddard. Alteration of Photographs. The paleontologist and science writer Stephen Jay Gould advanced the view that Goddard, or someone working with him, had retouched the photographs used in his book in order to make the bad Kallikaks appear more menacing. In older editions of the books, Gould said, "It has become clearly evident that someone has drawn in darker, crazier-looking eyes and menacing faces on the children and adults in the pictures." Gould argues that photographic reproduction in books was still then a very new art, and that audiences would not have been as keenly aware of photographic retouching, even on such a crude level. The 14 photos were subsequently studied further to show the nature of the retouching and subsequent use to help make Goddard's points. The psychologist R.E. Fancher, however, has claimed that retouching of faces of the sort which is apparent in Goddard's work was a common procedure at the time, in order to avoid a washed-out look which was common to early photographic printing methods. Furthermore, Fancher argued malicious editing on Goddard's part would take away from one of his primary claims, that only a trained eye can spot the moron in the crowd. Influence. The overall effect of the Kallikak family was to temporarily increase funding to institutions such as Goddard's, but these were not seen to be worthwhile solutions of the problem of feeble-mindedness, and more stringent methods, such as compulsory sterilization of the mentally retarded, were undertaken. The term Kallikak became, along with dukes and nams, a cultural shorthand for the rural poor in the South and Northeast United States. In August 1977, NBC premiered a situation comedy called The Kallikaks, which depicted the comic misadventures of an Appalachian family that moved to California and feuded with another family named the Dukes. The series lasted only 5 episodes. A June 8, 1987 cartoon in The New Yorker provided a further update to the concept, depicting the Dukes and Kallikaks today.